Hi, I'm Sophia from Trident Wellbeing, and I'm here to help those that have been or still are in difficult relationships, be they narcissistic, toxic, work or personal, as it isn't okay to be subjected to such behaviours. If you like what I have to say, please subscribe, press the like button and share. You just might help someone else today. How do you know if your relationship is unhealthy? Well, a clear sign is that you're here listening to this. Those in happy, healthy relationships don't need to go in search of understanding and education on these topics. However, I do want to congratulate you. For some of you, just looking up these topics is a really big step. I know, I was there once. It felt like I was being deceitful looking up these things, and pity the thought if I was found out. It can feel really incongruent, but by learning more, knowing more, you'll have more choices in how you choose to behave. I will show you how such behaviour is really damaging physically and emotionally, and you'll hear how to move forward. And at times I give examples of those I've worked with and experiences that we've all shared. Each blog does stand alone, and it's short, but you may want to check out the others, as I don't know what you've experienced, but hearing topics a different way will often help you to notice different things. Over the past weeks, we've discussed the overt narcissist and the covert. But what if you're in a relationship and you just don't know how you're being treated, but can't quite put your finger on why you feel so unsupported, lonely, and possibly at times worthless? Well, it could be that you're being subjected to a form of passive-aggressive behaviour. This type of behaviour can be subtle or more obvious. It can be used frequently or less often. Those that experience it less often may often doubt that it ever even happened, or make excuses for it and justify that it may have even been deserved. But for those of you that experience it frequently, it becomes even more destructive. The behaviour of the other person becomes part of our day-to-day life. We can feel helpless to change anything. Know that we're going to feel stressed every day and powerless. The more it happens, the worse that those being subjected to it feel. For example, you may have been trying to have a conversation to talk about how something made you feel, and you get no response from the other person. They avoid getting into the conversation in any manner at all. Or maybe they deflect part of the conversation, and we did discuss some of the languages a narcissist may use in a previous vlog. Those with a passive-aggressive nature will use language to deflect the real issues, so that you never really get to have a conversation or closure that you require. It isn't that you need to be right. It doesn't even need to be a big deal, just something that they don't want to address that is important for you. For example, you may have asked where they were. No insinuation, nothing else intended, just curiosity, yet they don't like to give you a straight answer. They may even turn it back on you. And in one case they've just explained, I had a big day. So they diminish it. And you're just trying to create conversation. They may say things like, why are you so distrustful? Why do you want to know? And then still avoid actually answering the why. Okay, so maybe I just wondered, you said to them. Perhaps you commented that you said you'd be home at 6, but then it's deflected with something like, well, work was so busy. Or you get a partial answer and it gets left at that because you know you don't want to create any more stress or hassles. But the comments have left you feeling that you're being invasive and you feel hurt possibly and like you're being non-supportive. However, a thoughtful person would have called you up and said what the actual problem was, apologised and been happy to answer any questions, understanding that you're just making conversation, that you're curious, that you're interested, and expectations that they are setting and not meeting, that you're just understanding so you can plan the evening ahead. You may notice that they use blame to avoid responsibility or take accountability. The problem will rarely be their fault, and dare I suggest, never if it is a big thing. Sure, they may say, dang, I broke the glass when it comes to it, but then there is a but. But the dog barked and I got a fright. Maybe they were late for a function, even one of your own children's events or a family member's event. But, there was a work commitment, even if it was on a weekend, even if it had been agreed that they would be there and finished in time and get through. Maybe they were late for a function, perhaps their own child's or a family member, because there was a work commitment. Could have even been on a weekend. Though you both had agreed it would be done in time, and even though you may have been left to organise anything, another passive aggressive strategy, they're late and they don't show up to help and they don't show up to be supportive. Can you see how these things could be reasonable problems, yet it leaves you feeling hurt, neglectful and incongruent in what they're saying and in what they're doing? Avoidance of obligations, or promising and then avoiding, not that one-off thing that we all forget, but repetitively, even after being reminded. You may receive promises of something that needs to be done or how behaviour is going to change, yet it is never forthcoming. Perhaps your partner hides their anger. You can feel it. Their body is probably oozing out anger in its language, yet they'll hide why they're upset. Maybe instead they'll use blame or they'll become a victim. In the case of the covert narcissist, you may see this as one of the more common tactics. There are times when tears can even eventuate, but nothing is really discussed, addressed or changed. The poor me or taking offence is more the common behaviour that you'll see. And this can be with any gender, any type of relationship. It can make those that care about the narcissist feel sad for them, even pity them, perhaps blame themselves and bend over backwards to make their partner feel better when they're hurting. Such are the passive-aggressive strategies. The last couple I'd like to discuss are sarcasm or those backhanded compliments. It can be a type of humour, but it differs from real humour in that it's personal and it's hurtful. Communication is in the reception, and if you point out to the narcissist that what they said makes you feel mean, feels mean, or it doesn't make you mean. Communication is in the reception, and if you point out to the narcissist that what they said feels mean or is upsetting, yet there is no change in their behaviour, then you can be feeling rest assured that this is a passive-aggressive trait. After all, who wants to hurt or upset someone that they care about? I feel strongly about this trait because it is so insidious and damaging. It's so much easier for those surrounding the narcissist to then blame themselves. Or perhaps they try extra hard to please the narcissist, hence providing them with more supply and unfortunately reinforcing that behaviour. I have known adults do this to children and witnessed how that it can affect their self-esteem. No form of abuse is okay, and this one can be hard to recognise. So if you're unsure, take note of how often things are promised and not finished, how jokes and sarcasm can make you feel, and if they continue even when you're asked not to. If conversations or important tasks are repetitively forgotten, or if your goals and needs seem to always be obstructed, making it extra difficult for you. Your body is probably already telling you that something is odd. So often we ignore that stomach tightening and those stress feelings or doubts that we have because we've been taught to doubt ourselves. This is why I'd like you to look at concrete behaviour patterns. These will tell a story, and I'll be very surprised if they don't match your emotions and gut feel. Our heart may try and talk us out of these doubts, so please look to your partner's actions, the repetitive ones that keep cropping up, and if they aren't listening, or how it makes you feel. And then if they aren't seeking help, then my friend, and I'm sorry, but this is probably going to continue. So if you recognise these though, you can choose to lower your expectations of things getting done. You can possibly find help elsewhere, prepare for occasions in advance, and thus head off those feelings that come from that passive-aggressive behaviour. Leaving is not always an option, but being prepared for familiar patterns helps you to control how you feel. It doesn't mean it'll be easier, but emotionally you'll have a little bit more realisation of what to expect and how to prevent them, those feelings that are not healthy to you. I hope this has helped. Please subscribe and share. Each of us says and experiences things differently, and it may be today that this vlog resonates. Until next time, I wish you much love.